The Monmouth men's basketball team returns home for 2 games this week. They take on Central Connecticut State on Thursday and Bryant Saturday. And to not only go over those games, but to look back a little bit, I'm happy to take a few minutes with the head coach of the men's basketball program here at Monmouth, Coach King Rice. Coach Rice, before we look forward to these games coming up, we should look back a little bit and talk about a couple of the games this past week. Your team, I think, and you said it on one of our broadcasts and last week's interview, is getting better each game. And we look back last week, you split the games, you beat FDU, and then you go up to Sacred Heart, have a lead up in Fairfield before ultimately falling. But we'll start with the rivalry game. Your team looked really good against Fairleigh Dickinson. Seemed as though not only were they able to score the ball, but the defensive intensity that we saw early in the year looks to be coming back.
Well, I'm hopeful that that's happening. We've been really working hard on the defensive end of the floor. The longer that teams get to see you on tape, the more prepared they can become playing against you. But even though teams see us on tape and they know what's coming, I'm trying to convince my guys, even if they know it's coming, we should be able to execute our defense because we work on it all the time and be able to take the teams out of what they want to do. And I think we got back to that a little bit against Fairleigh Dickinson, and it even carried over into most of the Sacred Heart game.
Yeah, Coach, talking about that FDU game, your backcourt was really great in that game. You got double-digit points from Jesse Steele, Dion Nesmith, and Christian White. Dion appeared to snap out of whatever shooting slump he was in, hitting a couple of threes, going for 20 points in that game. Just talk about your backcourt play in that game, and it looks as though when they can get it going together, that it could be a pretty dangerous unit.
Well, we've added Christian White back there with Dion and Jesse, and that kind of keeps guys off of our big guys because Christian is such a great shooter. And Jesse's been playing a lot better. It started off in practice. He started making them more, and now it's carrying over to the games. And with Dion, we've been sticking with Dion because he's one of our best defenders. He's an older guy. He knows what we want. And it was good for not just myself, but our whole team just to see Dion make a couple because he's such a good kid, and you pull for kids like that, and you feel bad when they're struggling. And Dion has stayed in there and just kept working, and now he's seemed to be turning it around.
And Coach, we talked on this program last week about where you think your team was headed as NEC play kind of hits that midway point. And right now you're right around the midway point in conference play. The league just appears to be jumbled as it is every year. There are a few teams at the top, but it still seems as though it's anyone's kind of game up for grabs. So what's the message to not only your players but your coaches, knowing where you are now and how well you finished last season? You're kind of ahead of that pace now, but what's the message now moving forward?
The message is one game at a time. We have to attack this the right way. We have to stick together. I think our kids and our coaches included thought that we might be a little bit further along at this time, and now that this is where we're at 3-5, we have to take it one game at a time. Since after the Robert Morris game, we've played a lot better. Even though we haven't won all of them, we've been right there in the games, and our team is still getting better. So as long as we stick together and take them one game at a time, I think that we'll get to where we want to be by the end.
Yeah, no, Coach, now to look at the 2 games this week, both at home, always good to return home. Obviously, you won the last one here against the Knights. But starting on Thursday against a Central Connecticut team that has one of the mainstays at the top of the program, and Coach Howie Dickinson, and also one of the most dangerous scorers in the league, in Kyle Vinales. What challenges do you think they'll pose to your team?
They can really score the ball. I want to say they're averaging around 71, 72 points a game, and that's a lot of points to get to. And Coach Callahan, Rick Callahan, always says the first team to 70 in college basketball wins, and they're averaging getting to 70, and Vinales definitely gives us problems. He's a kid that averages right around a little bit more than 20, and they play very free. How he lets his guys go a little bit, and they have some talented kids. So our defense is going to have to stand up like it's been doing. We're going to try to turn them over. I think we're a little bit deeper than them, so we're going to try to get after them and maybe get into their legs in the second half.
And then, not to look too far ahead, obviously you have the game on Thursday, but Saturday, I think the team that is kind of the question mark to all of us, because we haven't physically seen them before, and Bryant, that is 6-2 at the top of the league standings. This is the first year they can make the NEC tournament, and it looks as though Coach O'Shea kind of timed it up right, where the first year they can play in the postseason, they're having their best year in a long time, and I know they have 3 guys that can really fill it up, and they're kind of at the top of the standings as far as scoring points per game in the league.
Well, you know, when the season started, a lot of people weren't sure where Bryant would be, and I've known Tim for a long time when he was an assistant coach with Al Skinner, and he's a really, really good coach. And you know, when you take over a program and you're starting from scratch, it takes you a little bit of time. And Tim O'Shea's a great coach, and he has timed it up right, because they're a team that's scoring a lot of points. They have some older guys with some transfers, and then his guys that he started the program with are juniors and seniors now, and they're some of the better guys in the league. So we're anxious for this game on Thursday, just because we want to get back on the good side, and then we need to win some Saturday games. We haven't been very good on Saturdays. We haven't finished on Saturdays, so we'll be excited when Bryant comes into our building.
And Coach, one final question. It just seems as though, because we've seen how topsy-turvy, as I said earlier, the league can be, that anyone can win on any given Thursday or Saturday. And just how important is it to be home now for 2 games? You know, last weekend you were home for 1, but then had to go on the road. What is it, if anything, different, knowing you're home for 2 full games, Thursday and Saturday, either from a preparation standpoint, or just is it better to have the players back in familiar surroundings for 2 games?
No, you definitely like to be at home. You have to protect your home court. Last year, a few teams came in here and won, NEC teams, and so far just Robert Morris. So you have to protect your home court. This is where we practice every day. This is our building. We're going to have our fans there, and you want to play well in front of the home fans. But more importantly than just playing well in front of them, you want to protect your home court. And we have the best building in the NEC, and because we have the best building, we should have a team that wins in their building, and we're building towards that.
Well, Coach, if you allow me to build off of that point, we know what you're going to say to the team this week, and you're going to have them prepared to play, but I'm going to have you address those folks real quick, the ones watching and listening to us. 2 big home games this week, and I know you expect a lot from the team, but I know we expect a lot from our fans.
Well, I'd say to the fans and the students to please come out and get behind these young men, get behind the basketball team. They are representing you well on campus, in the classroom, and working extremely hard on the basketball court. So come out, make it a fun night, and help the Monmouth Hawks get a win.
To do what Coach Rice just said is very easy. Tickets are still available for both Thursday night's game against Central and Saturday's game against Bryant. You can call the Athletic Ticketing Office at 732-263-5735 or email hawktickets@monmouth.edu. You want to come see this gentleman and his team play, because they are definitely worth the watch. Coach, we appreciate a few minutes. We'll see you this Thursday and Saturday at the MEC.